Hey guys, what's going on? This is Deadly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask Deadly, the weekly show where I read your guys' questions that you leave me in the comment section. So let's get started. Hey Deadly, huge fan, love your content. Where do people loot tents in DayZ? I've never seen one on the ground, so I just hoard barrels. Also, do you think dead players should reanimate as Zeds when killed unless shot in the head? Imagine a Zed that's all geared up. Military camps spawn pretty much everywhere that military loot does, but if you're playing on a server like DayZ Underground or a server that doesn't wipe its persistency very often, then you're not going to be finding that many of them, so you're going to have to go out there and steal somebody else's tent. But just keep looting military bases, you'll find one eventually. Coincidentally, we were actually talking about the players reanimating during this morning's broadcast, and basically I was explaining the story behind DayZ's zombies. And they're not really zombies, they're actually sick people. They're infected, and they have an illness that is similar to like dementia with rabies. So just everybody who's actually a zombie in the game is just somebody who is suffering from the disease. The players, like the survivors, us, we are people that are immune to the infection. So it's impossible for us to actually contract the disease. That's why no matter how many times that zombies hit us or bite us, we won't actually turn into another zombie because we won't actually get the illness. Now, when it comes to zombies having really good loot, I think there should be rare zombies or zombies on helicopters or in military bases that have a chance to have weapons on their back or in holsters or potentially backpacks, fanny packs, maybe a wallet, just something. I think there needs to be more items on the zombies that can be lootable, including possibly even their shirt and pants if you want. But I think that risks infection. So it would give a use for the actual disinfectant spray that's currently in the game. So if you want to take items off of zombies, you should always like disinfect them first, and then that way that item will have immense value, similar to that of like a weapon cleaning kit. I would love to see that implemented into the future. And remember, 0.61 is the first patch in DayZ since the mod that you could actually loot items off of the zombies. So expect that system to be improved on significantly in the future. I've been playing DayZ a lot recently, and I think my eyesight and hearing has got a lot better in real life from playing this game by spotting targets and listening to footsteps. Have you had similar experiences? Not really, other than I've had a few funny moments where whenever I'm driving in a car, I kind of glance off the highway and maybe see like a barn, and I'm like, I wonder what's inside. So like, other than that, no, I actually am fairly sensitive to light. I'm a very, very light sleeper, like extremely light, almost to the point where it's difficult to fall asleep sometimes. So my hearing is usually pretty good, but my eyesight is fucking terrible. So no, man, I haven't really noticed anything significant from starting to play DayZ or video games in general. But what I have found is my ability to critically think has improved, and I think a lot of video games, and also just not even video games, but just games like chess, for example, which over time have been shown to increase your cognitive functions. DayZ needs to make it so you can access global chat, so it does not feel so lonely. You can have a conversation and whatnot, and give you the ability to turn it on and off if you want. Well, you're describing something that is already in the game right now, that a lot of people are actually starting to discover and use a lot more, especially on private hives like DayZ Underground. And that's the radio. If you want to get access to the global chat, which is essentially 87.8 FM, which is the default channel on the radio, all you got to do is find one, and they're pretty easy to find at police stations, on some zombies, and various locations throughout Chinaris, especially in military camps. Get some batteries. Batteries are literally everywhere. Just loot them whenever you see them, and boom, you can type, you can chat, you can do whatever you want. There's multiple channels. You can meet friendlies, switch channels, talk to your squads, give out channels specifically to other survivors that you meet throughout the world. And you know what? They wanted to limit the radius of the walkie-talkie, and you know what? I think they shouldn't do that. I don't think the walkie-talkie radius should be reduced at all. When they add the military radios, I think all the military radios should do is make the quality of the sound a lot better, but also allow individuals to create custom frequencies, not the already preset frequencies that are on the walkie-talkie. So if your squad wants to have a custom frequency that not everybody can know or listen into, you should have the ability to do that. And there's a great example, Task Force Radio. It's an Arma 3 mod that allows you to do exactly that. So I think in the future that should be an option, but right now the radio is such an important tool for getting survivors to work together that most players don't even really know about, especially the typing function. You essentially have access to a global chat all the time that nobody really uses. Now that being said, I think they should allow server admins to turn on global and turn off global if they want. Anybody in the DayZ mod days can remember some of those early messages like friendly in Cherno ? And people that are calling out bandits locations to put a little bit more pressure on them where locations where they've stashed loot or where they've died or where they found helicopters. And it encourages players to work together. So get yourself a radio, man, and you have your dream function already in the game. Hey Deadly, since 0.61 the spawns have moved west out of Cherno, Balota, and Komaravo. They were talking about Zelenogoris with the train tracks running through it being a Tizzy loot system. So my question is, will we ever get those spawns back? No. I think the pressure is always going to be in the far southeast. Is going to be the most common spawn area, and along the eastern seaboard. And the northwestern and deep western regions of the map are always going to have the best loot. DayZ works best when it's set up that way, so it encourages players to move inland to get the best supplies, and that travel and movement is what starts a lot of adventures. So I don't want to see that many deep western, southwestern spawns in the game anymore because of how much military loot players would have access to already. I think where the spawn systems are currently at in the game right now are the perfect spawn systems. I think the only spawn that I would be open to coming back is Cherno. I don't think there's too much of a problem with people spawning in Cherno. I think that would be pretty cool. So other than that, Cherno being the furthest spawn away that you can get to, I think is more than fair. Hello Deadly, how do you think the new tree and bush textures will impact the overall performance of the game? Speaking as a crappy laptop user scared for his life. I don't think that the textures are going to make the game perform worse, but we won't know until 0.62 comes out, which is hopefully going to be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of this coming week. So you'll just have to wait and see how it performs on your machine. I don't understand why sponsored videos would be bad at times like these for YouTube creators. It's helping them continue to give us free content no matter what. I can still think for myself and have my own opinion. Well, a lot of people do sponsored content. A lot of the biggest channels in the world actually use sponsored content. If you've ever heard somebody say this video is sponsored by audible.com, use the code blah 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 in the description box. It helps the channel. It encourages people who are big fans of the content to give some sort of monetary incentive whenever they're buying their products. And I think that's more than fair. And I think it's safe to say that nobody really has too much of a problem with that, because everyone understands that content creators, especially like myself who do this full time, that I stream and make YouTube videos, we need to find multiple ways to finance this business. So that's not the issue. I think the issue with sponsored content is whenever people are unclear about it, or they try to do product placements in their videos without properly explaining that yes, this is a sponsored video. And that's when people start getting their pitchforks. Or in situations that you had a long time ago with like T-Mart stuff with the whole like CSGO gambling, that was a massive mess because you create this environment where they own the website, but they're acting like it's a sponsored video for that website. Like they're promoting a site that it sounds like they don't own, but they actually do. And when things get a little weird like that, that's when people have problems. So, and of course, the issue I think that you're talking about was the Scum video that I uploaded to my channel that a lot of people thought was sponsored. It isn't, it's not. And I understand why people would have thought that way. It was very positive. There wasn't a whole lot of negative things to say about Scum. I did actually have some criticism for the game if people actually listened to the video near the end because of their choice to actually go with a third-person camera. Even though the game is trying to become extremely immersive, they're kind of just shooting themselves in the foot, and it doesn't make much sense. Like, why even bother creating this immersive environment if you're going to be including a third-person camera? It's just really stupid in my opinion. So I mentioned that. And but anyways, so nonetheless, if I ever do sponsored content in the future, I will be pretty damn open with it, and I think YouTube is actually making it so if you do a sponsored video, something will even like pop up on the screen to let viewers know. It's about being as transparent and honest as possible while also trying to finance the business. And the last question of this week's video comes from JCon72, who is an awesome DayZ content creator. We've played together a number of times. JCon's in a number of my videos. You guys know him, you guys love him. What is your morning routine for starting your daily streams? Also, how do you prepare for long 12 and 24-hour broadcasts? I'll start you guys off of a typical daily routine. I wake up about an hour before my stream, sometimes even 30 minutes before my stream, grab a very quick shower and feed Winston, make sure I clean his litter, all that stuff, just cat maintenance. I usually actually these days don't even eat breakfast anymore because I'm doing this intermittent fasting thing. I don't know, I'm just trying it out. So take a bunch of vitamins, get some water, put water in the coffee machine because I gotta make sure that that thing's gonna be running for most of the broadcasts, because I typically have like 2 or 3 coffees throughout the stream, especially the ones that go to like 8 or 9 hour broadcasts. So get everything ready, and I try to clean my desk a little bit. I learned this from Markstrom TV actually. Is before you do a stream, just get everything off of the desk. Make sure that you have your coffee mug, but all, like if you have any little bits of garbage or old coffee things or like water glasses, all the stuff, just clean up the desk, make sure everything's good to go, and then boom, start the stream. Typically do like a 10-minute introduction. I just choose a couple songs that I want people to listen to in the morning, and then we just go. And usually it goes uninterrupted for lately 7 hours. That's been about the average amount of time that I've been streaming lately. And I typically start the day off with DayZ and then end the day with some PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. So I try to split my time nearly evenly between those 2 games now. After that, I get lunch. Sometimes I go see Shelby. We kind of hang out for a little bit, or I immediately start editing the video for the day. So actually every video that you guys see, I edited that day, that afternoon. So I'm never actually usually ahead of my content. Sometimes I can be, but most of the time I'm not. So I start editing the video, typically of highlights of the afternoon stream. Get that done, and by that time it's usually well, could even be as late as 9 p.m. Depending on how I kind of sorted out my schedule. Grab something to eat, and then either spend the rest of the night with Shelby, just do a night stream, or if my afternoon and evening was busy doing other things, I usually edit at that time until about midnight. So, and that's pretty much every single day. So it's constantly doing stuff pretty much all the time. If I'm kind of sitting around not doing much of anything, I'm going to be reading comments or working on Photoshop or trying to figure out cool ways to do the stream or actually broadcast. Now, your second question is, how do you do 12 and 24-hour broadcasts? Pretty simple. I think the golden rule is to not drink too much coffee or energy drinks. Energy drinks are like the bane of any 12 or 24-hour broadcasts. In fact, I typically stay away from them completely. I do drink black coffee every now and again, but the thing that you need to do during 12 and 24-hour streams is water, and a lot of it. Just get a massive jug of water and constantly be drinking that throughout your experience. You'll find that you'll just be full of energy, you won't have any issues, and surprisingly, the time goes by very quickly. Other than that, I think it's kind of important to just try to eat on the more of the healthier side. So fruits, vegetables, nothing like too crazy like chips or anything too processed. You want to stay away from processed foods during those times. So other than that, man, just definitely give it a shot. I don't know if you've done a 12 to 24-hour stream before, but I highly recommend it to anybody who's not done it. As long as you prepare for it, you shouldn't have much of a problem. And they're also especially good for charity broadcasts as well. Well, guys, that's going to be it for this week's episode of Ask Daily. Be sure to leave your guys' questions or comments, and I will do my best to choose some of them for next week. I also wanted to thank you guys for the overwhelming amount of comments. We had over 100 questions last week. This was a very rambly video. We didn't actually get to cover that many subjects. But next week, I'll try to speed things up, be a little bit more rapid fire. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more daily content here on the channel. Also, check out the live streams every single morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and Sundays at noon. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for some more DayZ and PUBG.